Hey everyone, hope you're doing great. Raj here. Today we are going to be going over the level strategy, and I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how you can catch up to 60 pips using this strategy. Now, levels is available in your IM center. You simply need to go to strategies and click on levels, and you can open up this page. So we have our levels here. Now, when you go to strategy, there's three different ways that you can trade: Mondays, master trades, and also Lifeline. We're going to be taking a look at Lifeline, and I'm going to be showing you guys the different indicators you need to set and also some of the fundamentals that you need to look at before you take a trade. Now, before we get into the actual strategy, I'm just going to go over the market first. Now, if you go to Forex Factory, you'll be able to get an idea of exactly what's happening in the market. Now, on Forex Factory, you can go to calendar, and I'm just going to refresh mine because it needs to be in the UK time, which is currently 7:20 p.m. So if we just take a look today, anything in a red folder or a gray folder, you want to avoid trading. Now, if there's a gray folder here, for example, it says bank holiday, that means that the currency is going to be moving pretty slow. It's going to be quite weak, or it's not going to change much in terms of what its strength was. And if there's a red folder, that means that you need to avoid trading the pair an hour before and an hour after. And the reason for this is because there might be some news coming out that can affect the currency strength, causing it to go in one particular direction. And, if you haven't currently studied how to trade during the news, then maybe it's best to avoid. So today, 3 a.m., there was some news on the New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar. We had the US dollar news at 1:15. So again, you want to avoid between 12:15 and 2:15. And we've gotten the dollar news again at 3 p.m. So you would have avoided it between 2 and 4 p.m. So that is a little bit about the news. Then we've gotten the currency strength meter. Now, the currency strength meter gives you a good idea of the different currency strengths in the market with the currency pairs. And we want to use this to see exactly what currency pairs we can trade. Now, normally you want to trade a weaker currency pair with a stronger one, because that way it will push the market in a certain direction in order for you to actually catch some pips. So with the level strategy, now, before we get into the indicators, I'm going to show you guys two things. Number one, if you click on settings here, you can literally subscribe to emails. So if you click here, you will see emails, and you need to subscribe to every 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes, you're going to be getting an email regarding a potential trade idea. As well as that, you've gotten a calculator as well, a lot size, or what we call a risk calculator. Now, as a trader, your job is to maximize your profits, but at the same time, you want to minimize the amount of capital that you lose if you were to lose a trade. So, you want to grow your account 3 to 5% a day, essentially. So this actually calculates what lot size to use, because what you'll find is with some currency pairs, you don't need a big lot size. Whereas with other currency pairs, you need a bigger lot size to make your percentage for the day, right? And some of you, maybe you only need to take one trade a day to fulfill your 3 to 5% a day. Others of you, maybe you need to actually take 2 to 3 different trades to be able to do that. So say, for example, I had £200 in my account. As an example, I want to grow that 3% a day. So today I'm risking $6 here, or pounds, of course, if you're in the UK. And say we're going to be trading Euro JPY. You just fill out the information, then it's going to say entry. Now, your entry is this line here, just where my mouse is hovering, 143.813. That's going to be your entry. Okay, and then your stop loss is what we call don't give up. That is going to be your stop loss, 144.113. So you just want to put these two numbers here. It's going to give you a calculation of what lot size to use. So you can use this and start to calculate if you wish to. And that is what we need to do. So those are the number two things that we need to do. Now, when we go to strategies and Lifeline, your chart is simply going to be looking like this. So we're going to make a few changes. We're going to add some indicators before we start to trade. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the candles to Heiken Ashi candles. Now these candles, they're going to come up like this. And these candles are good because you can actually see that they show us, flat bottoms or flat top candles when needed. So I will be explaining that in a second, but for now, this is one of the things that we need to change. Then we want to add a indicator called the stochastic. Now, we're not going to be using the stochastic RSI, just the stochastic. So please make sure if you are adding this indicator, you do the correct one. Now I've added this indicator and it looks like this. We're going to make some changes. So I'm going to right click, go to my settings, and I'm going to change it to 1433. Okay, so these are the settings that you want to use. 1433. And if you go to the style, you want to change the percentage K to green. I tend to do it the third level of thickness purely because it's good in terms of visibility. If you go to percentage D, you want to use the red color, again, same level of thickness. You can make it thicker, you can make it thinner, whatever is easier for you. And of course, you want to save that as your default on both. Okay, so you want to save it as your default and leave it as that. And then you want the parabolic SAR. So I'm going to click on this again. As you guys might be able to see, it's very faint, the dots, but I'm just going to go to my settings. And again, I'm going to make some changes because we want this to be super, super clear. So if I go to style, I'm going to click on the color black. That is the color that I've chosen to do. And again, third level of thickness. Okay, save as default. And there you go. Now I'm going to quickly explain to you guys why we use these indicators. The stochastic basically shows us the trend of the actual trade. So for example, every time the red and the green cross over, you can see that the market starts to move in a certain direction. Right, every time they cross over, they start to move again. And the two horizontal dashed lines, one at the top, one at the bottom, anytime the two lines go beyond, this means that the currency is overbought. And what that indicates to us is that at some point, it's going to start to come back down as a potential sell. So if we just take a look at this, it's gone up, it stayed there, and it's come back down, gone back up. Now that it's reached this zone here, we can see it's gone past the dashed horizontal line. It's still moving in a downward direction as a sell. There could be a potential crossover later on. So that is something that you can check out, of course, when you're watching this. Then we've gotten the parabolic. Now the parabolic shows us the direction in which the trade is moving. So anytime the parabolic is at the bottom, it shows an uptrend, in other words, buy. Anytime the parabolic is at the top, this shows a sell trade. Okay, so you can see the candles are following along, and it shows that the overall trend at the moment is basically downwards. So if we look at the current one, we can see Euro JPY came in 5 hours ago, and the parabolic was at the top. It's showing a downtrend, and even after hitting all 3 TPs, it is actually still moving down. So that is the purpose of these. Now, remember, this is signals. We're just analyzing the signals to see whether they're good to take, whether it's a good time to take them, and we're going to be taking them. So in terms of your take profits, each take profit is worth 20 pips. So if I just show you guys, this would be your entry, and this is your first take profit. This is your second take profit, and this is your third, which again is around 60 pips altogether. And you've got a stop loss of 30 pips. Okay, so this is how this strategy works. And again, on the right-hand side, you're going to have two types of trades come in, buy and sell. Anything with a red panel shows a sell. Anything with a blue panel shows a buy. And you've got the currency strength meter here as well. So Euro JPY, at the moment, the Euro is 21, JPY 67. If the currency pair is stronger, the second one, then it means that the market's potentially going to start to move in a downward direction. Okay, and anytime the second currency pair is weaker, it shows that the market is potentially moving upwards. So it completely depends on the trade. So that is that. Now we're going to actually start the analysis of how to take a trade on levels. So let's look at Euro JPY. Now for this example, we can already see that it's hit all three TPs, but for example's sake, I'm going to put up the 4 steps, and we're just going to analyze and see whether we can take this trade or not. So I'm just going to put up the 4 steps for you. And these are the steps. So step number 1 is the red line above the green for the stochastic. If you look at it at the moment, the green line is below the red. So again, red line is above the green. Yes, that pointer is met. The SAR is forming at the top of the candles. So here's the red candles and the SAR is at the top. This is exactly what we need. Currency strength meter. The second currency needs to be stronger. Again, JPY is 67, Euro is 21. There's a huge difference in the strength. So again, a good trade. And flat candle red. Now, with Heikin-Ashi candles, what you'll find, we can actually tell the overall direction of a trade. In other words, every market is going to have some pullbacks, but overall, it's going as a sell. There's red candles, and what we're looking for is a flat top. For a sell, we are looking for a flat top, so there's no wick, because that shows that there is a strong direction coming downwards. Similarly, if this was a buy trade, if we were looking for an uptrending market, again, we would be looking for flat bottoms, as we can clearly see here, because this shows that the overall trend has strongly been going upwards. So that is what we're looking for overall. So looking at this trade, if you just practice these 4 steps, you can see that this trade was a really good trade. And it's hit all 3 TPs. So 5 hours ago, if you had taken this trade, you would have managed to catch 60 pips through this strategy. Now I'm going to go over an example for a buy trade. So for a buy trade idea, we want to have a look at the 4 steps for a buy. So I'm going to put up these steps, and, you know, automatically looking at this trade idea, you can already see that there's a red candlestick forming. Okay, so this trade has actually come in a day ago. It's been over 24 hours, so it's probably expired. But at the time that it did come in, it's actually hit all 3 TPs again. Okay, so we're going to go over these steps quickly. So step number 1, let's take a look at this trade from around, let's just say this zone here, because this was the real entry point, which was like yesterday at around 9 p.m. or almost in 1 a.m. this morning. So if we just take a look at this trade, we're going to analyze. So for the stochastic, the green line has to be above the red. So as we could see at this point here, the green line was above the red. They were starting to cross over. Even though there was a cross, it still continued to slightly go up and then start to come back down. And step number 2, the SAR is forming at the bottom of the candle. So again, the SAR is actually forming at the bottom of the candle. at least when the trade had come out, it was very strongly. So again, the step was met. Step number 3, the second currency must be weaker. Now, at the moment, the AUD is actually stronger than the euro. Okay, so it's almost double the strength. But during the time of this trade, we can actually assume that AUD must have been weaker because that is what would have pushed the market to go upwards than downwards. And lastly, flat candle green. So as you guys can see here, there was a flat candle, no wick at the bottom, no wick at the bottom, and all 3 TPs were smashed. So this is exactly how levels works. It's very easy. You just need to start to practice the strategy and you can start to take trades. Now, GBP CAD again came in a day ago. Let's just have a look at some other ideas, trade ideas. Okay, so Euro NZD again. This came in as a sell, as you can see from the red panel. And, again, all 3 TPs have been smashed for this trade idea, although it hasn't quite gone in the direction that we're looking for a nice, clear trade to go in. Now, what I mean by this is, if I just put up the steps again for a sell idea, and we just look at it from the time frame when it came in, we're going to start to analyze. So Euro NZD came in about 13 hours ago. So we're looking at about 6, 7 a.m. this morning, I'm assuming. It's about 7:30 p.m. here. So, about 6 a.m. this morning, this trade came in. And if we just take a look, so it came in around this zone here, just where my mouse is right now. At this zone, we could see that the red line was above the green, but it started to have a crossover. Okay, so the first step was met, but it wasn't quite there. And the SAR, it did start to form at the top of the candle if we just take a look. Okay, so it did. Currency strength meter. The second currency at the moment is still stronger, so it's still coming downwards. And at the time, what we can tell here is it might have had a slight pullback because there was actually a green candle here. So it initially started from here and finally flat candle red. Now, the flat candle actually started from TP2 onwards. Okay, so from Iron Powerful, it started to come down. So personally, I wouldn't have entered this trade until it would have gone past the TP1. So in situations like this, you just need to analyze mainly the currency strength, the direction of the trade, and you can need to take the trade. So when you see trade ideas like this, you always want to take a trade, first of all, beyond the entry. You don't want to take a trade when it's hovering in this red zone. It has to be below the red zone. Personally, that's what I would do. And another commonly asked question with this level strategy is that what time frame do we look at when we are taking a trade? Now, if we take a look at this particular trade, let's look at Euro JPY, for example. Euro JPY, the entry price was 143.813. Now, if I go to the 15-minute time frame, okay, you're going to see that the entry again is 143.813. If I go to the 1 hour, again, same entry price. If I go to the 4 hour, the same entry price as we were looking at already. So you always want to take your trade analyzing the 4 hour time frame. Why? Because some of the trade ideas that come on here on levels, this isn't always necessarily a quick scalp. It can take some time to take profit. So you want to make sure that you're looking at the bigger time frame and then you're taking a trade. Always look at the bigger picture, because the 15-minute, the 1 hour, they're going to show you what's happening in those smaller time frames. But essentially, you want to take a look at what's happening in the bigger time frame. Okay, so this is it with the level strategy. Now, if you go to the training, you will be able to see that there's videos here for each of the different strategies. and you can check out the how to trade the Lifeline system. And you can always go to the Go Live education as well, where you will be able to actually learn properly how to trade not just the Lifeline strategy, but also Mondays and master trades. The more you educate yourself on Forex trading and how it works, you can actually start to profit a lot more as you go down the line. So this is it for levels today, and keep on practicing, and it will definitely get you all 60 pips over time.